Hi, I wanted to talk to you today about this super special bike that we've got here at the moment. This is factory World Superbike Ducati that was ridden by Michael Rinaldi in 2018. It's known as an F18 because it was a factory bike, obviously F for factory and 18 for 2018. Now, whilst this looks like a panigale, it's an extremely different bike underneath the fairings, and today I've actually taken the fairing off so we can have a look at some of the different pieces underneath to try and let you understand a little bit about the work that goes on behind the scenes to make these bikes as fast as they are. First of all, this is reputed to be about 230 brake horsepower, which is a good chunk up on your standard road-going panigale. Obviously you can see the different F18 exhaust system under there and the massive pipes and the way it all curls around underneath. And there are other features in that exhaust system too. There's a little servo motor up the back here and a flap which shuts to help control engine braking as they enter into corners. Other things you can spot here, this is the top of a little scavenge pump. The factory found that they could run a lot less oil in the bike by running this little pump, and instead of the sort of 6 litres they would normally run, it runs something like 2.5. This actually gained them quite a bit of power because it didn't have the drag on the crank and things like that. And it obviously doesn't froth the oil as badly as well, and so that's something that is different over your road bike. Obviously you can see the electronics, very complex. This is all Magneti Marelli factory stuff. They use an ECU called the MLE 230, I think, World Superbike, and all the wiring's put together with these lovely little Deutsch connectors that snap on with a sort of bayonet fixing, and you can see all the pressure sensors and different bits that are on here. This is where they plug in a booster pack to start the bike. Because of the Scavenge Pump system that they use on here, they actually put a booster pack on and wind the bike over a little bit first to build up the oil pressure before they start it from cold, which is a little sort of slightly different procedure to your road bike. But it's not as complex as some people imagine. Years ago they used to joke that you needed 3 people from Switzerland and 5 laptops and things like that to start Formula 1 cars and super bikes, but this really isn't that complex, but it's certainly a little bit different from your road-going machine. Obviously you see up here, great big radiator, big oil cooler on the bottom there to help cool it. So when you start making more power, you also make more heat. And so they have to put a bigger radiator on to cope with that. And you can see the expansion tanks and stuff. The ECU sits on the other side there, and this big junction box up under the tank where you see all the connectors going into it. And the big panel here to stop you from burning your leg on the exhaust and things like that. Now, I suppose I'll come and grab the camera and we can look at some stuff more closely. These are the electronics I was talking about, and these lovely little snap-on connectors that come on and off like that. And that's a feature that you'll only find on sort of GP and World Superbike, and it's something that I love to see. All Ducati Corsa parts have a little part number embossed on them, which you can see here, and you can see on the footrest and things like that. And so you can see when you're looking at a factory bike usually, because it will have all these little date stamps and numbers in all the pieces all over the bike. And that's something that's unique to sort of Ducati, and the fact that they produce a race bike and then let the general public have it as an RS maybe the following year. And by putting part numbers on everything and producing books and catalogues and things, you can then run it as a race bike, almost as you would run a road bike. You can see more of the part numbers here on the clip-ons and things like that. And we come up to the dash on the top there. This bike, unusually as well, has still got all of its ECU and things on. Sometimes they get taken off, and so this is actually a sort of working running machine, which is quite unusual to get as a World Superbike, and so that's quite a lovely feature as well. You can see all the buttons on the side here for the controlling the maps and the traction, the various different modes and functions. And there's a thumb brake underneath the bottom there, as you would find on sort of GP and World Superbike, which is also a lovely thing to see. And so it's really almost a unique machine. There's very little that carries over from the road bike. Even on the tank here, where it's scalloped out to get your chin in, and this kind of dummy cover over the front and things. It's all very, very different. It's he says actually surprising how few pieces carry over from your road going panigale to the race machine. You know, it's quite fascinating when you look how complex these are, how much has changed, how things are very different, and how exquisite and beautiful they are too. Really, you know, quite an amazing thing to see up close. Also, what's lovely on this bike, it's quite unusual, is it's still got its scrutineering stickers from the French round of the superbikes. And equally, you see these little red stickers. This is a seal from World Superbikes, and they put these on the engines and on various components and things because they're controlled engines. And so on the swinging arm on this, it's got a red seal. On the rocker covers on the other side and things, it's got the little red seals. And it just shows that it's been through scrutineering, the engine has been sealed, and it can't be changed or tampered with as you go on. I think in superbikes they're allowed 6 engines a year perhaps from memory, and obviously they're all numbered and sealed and documented. You can actually see there's like a lock wire seal on the top there and a little tag, which that's been put on by World Superbikes to stop the engine being tampered with and changed. And things like that. So I hope you enjoyed having a look around this. I think it's a really most fascinating machine, and what a beautiful thing to be able to have a look at.